The biggest Raleigh myths. Are they true or are they false? Have you heard from others or the news about what living in Raleigh is like and wonder if it's true? I'm going to go over the top 8 myths of Raleigh and let you know if they're true or false based on my experience. Stay tuned until the end, as the number 1 myth is a hot topic for Raleighites. I'm Allison Wernerowski, local broker and owner of Relocating, and founder of the Relocating to Raleigh brand. Please like and subscribe and join our social media pages, as we've created the area's best platforms to collaborate with thousands who are also new or looking to move to the area. If you have any real estate needs, we have one of the top teams in the area, as we've helped so many families find their dream homes here, and we would love to help you. First up, let's start with driving, as myth number 8 is Raleigh has very little traffic. Raleigh has recently been named as one of the best places to drive in the country, and generally has nowhere near the traffic of larger cities around the country. But this myth is false. While it is true that some areas of Raleigh provide pretty smooth commutes, the worst areas can be pretty frustrating and double if not triple your commute times if you travel during rush hour. While this is mostly a matter of perspective based on where you're coming from, people moving here have the misconception that Raleigh is a great place to drive, but in fact it has its struggles. While the NCDOT is doing its best to keep our roadways maintained, our population is growing quickly, and we are not set up for mass transit. Couple that with a wide variety of driving styles, and you have some pretty frustrating situations at times. From a Raleigh native, the key is to learn what areas to stay away from and utilize the network of back roads to improve your commuting experience. Moving on and sticking with the driving theme is Raleigh's drivers cannot drive in the snow. Raleigh has made national news multiple times for our inability to handle driving in any amounts of snow. For example, a snowstorm of just a few inches quickly dumped snow on us around lunchtime, and it stranded many people on the side of the road overnight. The truth is, Raleigh drivers do struggle in snow, so this is true. However, I'll give some additional perspective. The above example was partially our lack of preparation for our roadways, and waiting too long to let the kids out of school. Snow had been coming down hard for an hour, covering the roadways, and all of a sudden the entire city left to go home at the same time, leading to a gridlock that turned the roadways into an ice rink as it was so cold. Many times Raleigh is on the edge of snow and freezing rain, and we rarely get pure white powder snow. Driving on snow is much different than driving on ice, but Raleigh drivers struggle on both. We just struggle on ice more, as we rarely get either and have little to no experience. For those coming from up north, do be cautious though, as again, many times the roads are icy, which is challenging for the most experienced snow driver. Next up is myth number 6, Raleigh has great weather. This is really a matter of perspective, as some may define amazing weather as Southern California's consistency of perfect temperature and sunshine. But I'm gonna say that this myth is true for those who enjoy a variety. Raleigh averages highs in the 50s and lows in the 30s during the winter, highs in the 80s to the 90s in the summer with high humidity, and highs in the 70s in the spring and the fall. We don't have issues with significant amounts of rain or dry spells, and it lightly snows or ices 1 to 2 times a year on average. If you want to experience all 4 seasons with a variety of temperatures, Raleigh is a great place to be. Do watch out for the pollen though in the spring. If you have allergies, you'll want to keep your medicine handy. Moving on to a similar subject involving the weather is myth number 5. Raleigh frequently experiences hurricanes. We didn't name the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes for no reason, and while there is absolutely some truth to this, I'm going to say this myth is false if you consider impact. Every August through October, Raleighites are closely monitoring the tropics, but in reality, it is fairly uncommon that Raleigh is truly impacted by a hurricane. That is not true for eastern North Carolina, as Greenville to the east frequently experiences hurricane impacts and flooding, but Raleigh usually just experiences tropical storm force winds and rain, if anything. The last major hurricane to do major damage to the Raleigh area was Hurricane Fran in 1996, which was a Category 1 that went right through the city. In recent years, we've had several hurricanes hit the eastern portion of the state with heavy flooding, and while Raleigh experienced some minor power outages and downed trees, it was just a day or two impact at most. The next myth about Raleigh is its nickname, that is truly the City of Oaks. Speaking of national news, Raleigh has been on the news for dropping a large acorn to bring in the new year downtown. If you've ever been downtown, you would see the city streets are lined with over 100-year-old oak trees. It's beautiful, and this reason is why this myth is absolutely true. We are the City of Oaks and also acorns. Raleigh truly feels like a city built within a forest, as the city has done a great job preserving trees and parks. When you're driving, many times it doesn't feel like you're in the middle of a city, and it can be easy to miss a shopping center at times. The trees make it absolutely stunning in the fall when the leaves change, and is one of the reasons why people love living living here the most, as the natural parks in the area are top-notch. The next myth is about location. Myth number 3 is Raleigh is southern and rural. North Carolina is south of the Mason-Dixon line and absolutely southern, but Raleigh and many of its suburbs do not fully fit that description, so I'm going to call this one partially true. First off, Raleigh itself is definitely not rural, as the city has really expanded and is the second largest metro area in the state outside of Charlotte. It has turned into more of a tech town with Research Triangle Park and all of the universities around. There are some suburbs that are further away from Raleigh that have more rural feel, but the whole area is really developing. And as far as being southern, there is a healthy mix in Raleigh due to all the people who have moved here from all over the country and the world. As Raleigh rose the charts of the best places to live, the secret was out and so many people moved here from all over. You definitely feel the southern hospitality and charm, as people here are generally more welcoming and polite. But Raleigh itself and many of its surrounding cities and suburbs are very progressive and have an excellent mix for anyone and everyone to feel comfortable. Moving into one of the biggest misconceptions about Raleigh is myth number 2. You can get a large house and land for really cheap. This myth may have been true 20 years ago, but over the past 5 to 10 years, prices have really risen and land has become scarce in Raleigh and much of its major suburbs due to the high demand of the area. Don't get me wrong, Raleigh is still much cheaper than many of the larger cities in the country and offers many great homes and neighborhoods that meet people's needs. But many come here thinking that they can get a massive 5,000 or more square foot home on 2 acres of property for $500,000 in the middle of a city. And that's just not the case anymore. If you do need more property or want to stretch your money and see how far it can go regardless of location, there are some areas that are 45 minutes to an hour outside of Raleigh that may meet your needs. Alright, this last myth, and this is a big one, myth number 1, Raleigh is boring. This myth is a matter of perspective in terms of what someone values, but overall I'm going to say this myth is absolutely false. Raleigh has a ton to do for both families and singles alike. I will say if you want endless bars and clubs, Raleigh may not be for you, but Raleigh is far from a sleepy downtown. There is a great variety of bars, clubs, lounges, and live music that is active all weekend and in multiple areas of downtown. And there are also quite a few condos and apartments going up in the downtown area that are very popular with the younger crowd. And as far as other entertainment, Raleigh has the loudest house in the NHL with the Carolina Hurricanes. It also has an amazing tailgating atmosphere with some of the best college sports in the country, and the biggest names in the entertainment industry rarely skip Raleigh. Raleigh is best known for its park system, as it's a physically active city with a huge network of amazing parks, greenways, and lakes. And Raleigh is also perfectly situated to quickly enjoy both the beach and the mountains, and it's a quick drive to Charlotte as well. So whether Raleigh is boring or not is truly a matter of perspective, and it's certainly not in New York City, Chicago, or Los Angeles, but I truly believe it has more than enough to keep both families and the younger crowd entertained. Those were some of Raleigh's biggest myths explained based on my experience here. Let me know your thoughts on whether or not you agree with these myths in the comments. I'm Allison Wernerowski with Raleigh Realty, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in our next video.